Hello there. As many of you know, for those of you who know me, you know one of my interests outside of work and family is motorsport. I love cars, I love watching motorsport and taking part in motorsport from time to time. And I'd been given an invitation a while ago to do something that I wouldn't normally do, something that I certainly wouldn't do regularly, but on this occasion, I spent a bit of time with this invitation and I prayed about it, and I believed that it was an opportunity that I was to take. And I travelled with a family at the weekend to go to the British Touring Cars. Travelling with them meant that I would have access to areas where you wouldn't normally, if you were just had bought a ticket, you wouldn't get the type of access to see around behind the scenes. And one of the things that I realised as we were there, you needed lots of these things on this trip. Lots of these little lanyards. This one is the VIP. So yes, for the weekend I was a VIP, but now that I'm home, I've had to get all notions of being a VIP out of my head, back to normality. So this had to be around your neck, had to be visible when you wanted to go to the hospitality unit to get your food. Of course, you know, food's a big thing as well, so you had to show this to get your meals. And you could just walk in with it. There was a table reserved. You could leave anything down there that you wanted. It was secure in that area. Some other areas we were allowed to go into was this one here, the British Racing Drivers Club. It's a big complex within the place that we were at, and this is a very exclusive club. Not all drivers are members of this club. You have to be invited, and the family that we were with, their driver is a member. So because he's a member, he's allowed to give us these passes that we could go in, use the facilities and stand up on the balcony there and watch the drivers as they were racing around a particular part of the track. And that was good. There were some other passes that we needed as well, and I haven't got them with me now, so I'm just going to turn around. I've got a little photograph on my computer here. So there was this pass, was the paddock pass. You had to wear that all the time, so you could walk up and down the pit area and see in at the back of the different various pits. And then this one here, you can't see what the word is in behind there, but that's the grid access pass. So that was the pass that allowed you to go out onto the grid when the cars were forming up before the start of the race, and the TV cameras were doing interviews with the drivers, so we were standing and be able to see all of that going on. And so these were 4 passes that we had. But even with these 4 passes, there were places that we couldn't go. And I only have 2 of these passes home with me because the other passes were taken from us. The grid pass, for example, was taken as soon as we went off the grid. We had to hand that back again so that we couldn't go onto the grid another time. So our access it wasn't all access, it was limited access. And even though we were there, you could only get into certain parts at certain times. But there was this time when we were walking around with these 4 things around our neck, and you didn't sort of know which one you were supposed to be lifting at the right time to do what. There was different ways. You had to actually hold them up and show them. Oh, that's the wrong way around. Some of them you had to hold them up and show them. This one, for example, there was a little card reader and you had to hold it to the card reader. It went bleep and then it allowed you to get through the turnstile. Other ones just had to be on display that people could see that you were in an area where you were allowed to be. But again, limited access and temporary access. We're walking around with these 4 things on. At one point I went, boy, isn't it so simple for us to get into heaven. Our access into heaven is much a simpler process than all of this palaver for this one day that we were at. The Bible tells us that it's simple. Jesus has made it simple, and he in fact is our pass. He tells us himself in John's Gospel that he is the gate, and all who enter through him will be saved. Saved from what? Saved from a lost eternity. Saved to an eternity in heaven. He tells us in John's Gospel as well that his Father's house has many rooms. His Father's house is code for heaven. There are many rooms. He's talking to his disciples. He says, I'm going to prepare a place for you. So we have this assurance that he has this place prepared. He is the way. In that passage, Thomas is asking a question. We don't know the way, so how do you know where you're going? Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And then he In another passage in John, he explains the simplicity of it even further. He says, all that the Father gives to me will come to me. Whoever comes to me, I will never turn away. So as the Father sends us to the gate, Jesus, who is the access and the gate, will not turn us away. And even further again then, he says, and all that the Father gives to me will come to me. I will not turn them away. And he says, I will lose none of them. I could lose one of these, and if I'd lost one of these, I wouldn't have got access. But you see, it's not down to us. Jesus is the access. He is the gate. He is the keeper of the gate. He brings us, he holds us, he keeps us. He will not lose us. So this access that we have is a permanent access. It can't be lost or taken from us. It's not temporary in any way. When I went to the touring cars, I wanted to see more. There was other bits I would love to have seen, but didn't have the pass. So I still have questions. But whenever we get to heaven, there'll be no questions. We're told by Paul that when we see now, we only see a poor reflection. But when we see Jesus face to face, when we get to heaven, we will be fully known and fully know. We will know it all. It will be all revealed to us. Simple. Sometimes we make this more complicated. We think we need all these various different passes in our life, good works and various different things. Simplicity. We just need Jesus. So maybe today or tomorrow, the next day, you might have to wear one of these to get into work. Sometimes we need a card in our pocket that gets us into our car. We walk forward to the car, it unlocks as we approach it. You maybe been at a music event or something where you've had to wear one of these. They're good to get in and get to work, but they're all temporary, they're all limited. But Jesus is permanent, and he is all access all areas. So keep it simple in your faith. If you've got one, if you haven't, try and get rid of all that stuff that's out around it and just keep it simple. Put your trust in Jesus and be assured of full access into heaven. Take care.